Welcome back. Deck Hockey Focus here, checking in one last time. North American Ball Hockey Championships have officially come to a close.
They did.
But we need to take a look back and give everybody a look at what happened. So first I want to thank everybody who has checked us out on Facebook. Our new website, deckhockeyfocus.com, has been following us on Twitter at deckhockeyfocus. A lot of good interaction with you guys there, so we really do appreciate that. We put a lot of work into this stuff. But Shackelford, let's look at the winners.
Yeah, let's start from the top then, huh?
Absolutely.
Well, surprised to some, I guess, but not for a lot considering they've been in this game 6 of the last 7 years. The Pittsburgh Gods taking home the men's A division, I apologize. Followed up in B with the LA Barons, the team that definitely traveled the most.
Oh, long travelers there for sure.
The forefront in women's A, the number 1 seed, Mid-Atlantic Happy Endings. Followed up in the B by Pittsburgh Blast, and C, the Ottawa Peskies.
Right, so a lot of winners, a lot of losers, a lot of great games. So let's dive in. Let's take a deep look here. Men's A maybe is where we want to start there because there was so much going into that. I mean, first off, with the Pittsburgh Gods coming in as the 6th seed, which
Definitely.
if I would have put my money there on Friday night, you would have called me crazy. Maybe call it an upset, the 6th seed going all the way, but the Pittsburgh Gods are no stranger to championships.
No, they know how to win, and honestly, I don't think the 6 seed's really indicative of the gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
They played Buffalo Fusion on Saturday night. That caused the upset, the 3-1 upset, quote unquote.
Sure.
That put them in the 6th seed. The storyline there, they met them again on Sunday morning.
They did.
So the rematch there, and actually the Gods took that 3-0. So like we were saying, you can't call a 6th seed an upset. Those guys know how to win.
Absolutely.
So they battled through adversity to get that championship game against the Godfathers.
The Battle of the Gods.
But again...
What a battle it was.
Oh, absolutely. But let's talk about the Warriors Godfathers.
Yeah, so we were riding the Warriors super hard. We have been ever since last tournament, and we were rooting for you, boys. We were rooting for you. You put up a hell of a battle, but the Godfathers were no slouch.
No, absolutely not. And that's, taking nothing away from the Godfathers. The Warriors had that streak coming in, that new team, never missing the finals.
Yeah.
And it was bound to happen sometime. The North Americans, I think, is a place where if it's going to, the best team's going to rise that day.
Right.
I know Johnny Ruiz had an injury that pulled him out of the 3rd period. Not that that's going to influence one way or another, but the Warriors missed their first championship game ever.
Wow, impressive. But they've got an impressive franchise. I think the future looks extremely bright for them.
Absolutely.
So they ended up losing to the Godfathers 3-4 in regulation, whereas the Gods played Fusion, like we said, in their original battle. And if I've got my information correct, it was a 1-1 battle when they met each other in pool play, correct?
No, it's 3-1. They lost.
3-1. Okay, I'm sorry, I got that wrong. But anyway, Gods Fusion 3-0. So the Gods are coming hot.
Yeah, they had the momentum.
And they're shutting it down, and Rutledge is playing. So you're in trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. And then that brought us to the last game of the night, Godfathers, which was...
It was back and forth.
I don't even know how to explain how that was, except it was a hell of a game. And back and forth, God scored, Godfather scored, God scored, Godfather scored, back and forth, back and forth.
Power plays, left and right.
Well, the Gods actually scored that power play goal after they went down.
Okay.
Which kind of tied it back up. The Godfathers came right back out and scored, and the Gods scored near the end of the game to force it to overtime.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I want to talk about here is, was it the second goal by the Godfathers? When they're playing behind the play?
The defensive turnover are you talking about?
No, that was the 3rd goal. We can talk about that in a second. Okay. But the beaut that this was, the second goal that the Godfathers scored.
Oh, the late man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Defensively, the Gods have him pinned behind the net. There's nowhere for him to go.
Sure.
He goes back and forth, pulls one of the defenders back. And even watching it, I didn't see this guy come, but eyes in the back of the head pass, hits him on the tape, the trail.
The behind the net to the So we thought at first when we first saw it, we thought it maybe was like lost control, a strange bounce. Maybe he wrapped it to this side.
Yeah.
Literally faked the wrap, put a dime pass to the back door, faked out everybody in the entire rink except for 2 people, the goal and the assist there. So that was unbelievable. Yeah. But the play from the Pittsburgh Gods defensively with Rutledge. So I think, was it the first 2 goals of the game? one for Godfathers, one for Gods. I could be wrong again. I do it all the time. But there were a couple of squeakers.
Oh, definitely.
And I was worried early on because usually it's locked tight. I mean, goals are at an absolute premium for the most part. And so when we saw a couple, I was like, oh boy, is there going to be some jitters? Or they got butterflies in the stomach? What are we in for here today? And then everybody found their niche and everybody started coming and going. So the third goal was what I was talking about a minute ago. The defensive turnover.
Okay. Yeah.
Gods have it behind, should be routine breakout, comes across right-handed player, I don't remember who it was, right to left, loses control to the forechecker there, and what looked at first to us like a goaltender, bobbling it, not staying tight, whatever, when we watched it on the replay, it was a defensive turnover. I mean, there's nothing we can say about it other than why would your goalie be completely tensed up, hugging his post there when you should be making a routine pass? So
exactly,
you don't see that from the Gods hardly ever.
No, and Rutledge was resetting. That's pretty much what he was doing. He was ready to follow the ball out of the play and out of the zone. And I mean, congrats on the Godfathers for the forecheck there.
Great turnover.
But ultimately, game went to overtime. The Gods tied that back up at the end, went to overtime, and just back and forth. Godfathers goalie, those glove saves. Game should have been done twice before it wouldn't have.
In the third, he was absolutely celebrating the glove hand. I mean, for good reason. Yeah,
he kept that game going for him.
Incredible.
But the Gods again found a way to win. It was almost like they're cycling out of the zone. Player, I wish I remember your name. I'm sorry. Just kind of cycling out, and it was a sneaky shot from just inside the blue line. But he saw the traffic that was moving in front of him and just
found the soft spot.
Well, yeah, in any overtime situation, you have to get the puck or the ball to the net. That's what he did. He found the hole and then game over.
Yeah, with a purpose. But I mean, what a battle! And can we acknowledge something here with the Godfathers? Although they fell short in OT in one of the best battles that we've seen in a championship in a long time, the jersey combo. Oh God. And then can we talk about Mustachio Bashio? I mean,
James Brown.
From the beginning, I thought they had it locked just based on coordination alone of the wardrobe.
He won that tournament like the Minnesota high school
the hair hockey champion
all-star team.
Yeah,
he came out first announcement just like I don't even know what to say.
Well, that's our pick for tournament MVP right there, just based on nothing other than aesthetics.
Absolutely.
But holy crap, top to bottom, great tournament in the A. Let's talk about the teams that didn't quite make the cut, because a lot of them could have been in that pool, and totally. I think we were even talking about it. Would you rather come in and win the B pool and end on a victory and a nice run, or would you rather be beat out in the first round in the A pool? I don't know which one I would rather do. I like winning.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I'm kind of torn.
Yeah.
If I want to get my games in a tournament, but I don't want a participation trophy either. I want to earn it.
Well, talk about getting your games in, especially if you're traveling across the entire country.
Exactly.
By far the team that traveled the most.
Oh, the furthest.
Not even close.
And that was the LA Barons going 0-1 in round robin.
No victories there in pool play. But they did pull out the tie.
I'm going to say they have bus legs.
Okay, we'll call it that. I think there's probably always going to be an adjustment period too when they said in the interview that they've got a couple of guys from the East. They've got a couple of guys that play in a couple of different West Coast leagues and things like that. So there's a chemistry issue that you'll see with the Gods, and apparently the Warriors now are really starting to come together. And a lot of these teams that have been playing together for years and years and years, they've got their systems down. And when you're a new franchise going to an entirely new place, new location, new competition even.
Exactly.
And they figured it out.
Yeah.
They figured it out on Sunday.
They did, and they did it early. Mike DeLorenzo, when we were talking to him Sunday morning, he's like, our goal was to come and win 2 games. They didn't do that on Saturday, but they did it on Sunday.
Yeah.
And they did it big on their opening round with the overtime win over the Empire.
Which we discussed briefly.
We did.
In the interview there. But it wasn't just the offensive play, like you were saying. we this is all we've been talking about for the last like 5 days. So run through kind of how it came up to what ended up being, you know, that backdoor kind of pick up the garbage goal. I think, how did he describe it? He said, I threw it in there and I know that he's tougher than everyone else, so I just threw him a 50-50 and knew that he would muscle everyone out.
That's
but
how
to get there.
Well, exactly. And, you know, we watched the video. I've watched it a few times. And what I ended up doing was just start it from the beginning. And there's a play about 30 seconds before that goal starts. The Barons have pressure. They're going. It's their moment, and they know it. But Empire's also not going to lose.
Sure.
So they step up defensively. They get a clear, a wide open clear. And it was actually a good out.
It could be a fast break.
He was just getting it out of the zone. The left defenseman for the Barons completely lays out. I don't know how he got it. I still don't. Grabs it on the red line, full extension, keeps it in the zone, and as he's kind of falling, gets it to his defender. Then they start the cycle over, and that's what caused the goal. It was the commitment from the defenders and willing to sell out to make that play happen. And that we actually didn't talk about a lot on Sunday, but that's how all that went down.
Yeah.
So it's kind of recognizing that the full commitment, and you can't look at just how that goal was scored. It's how it kind of was created.
Well, and there's 5, I mean, call it 6 players on a team, and it takes all of them if you're going to get it done.
Definitely.
I mean, especially in OT when it's anything can happen. Every single step counts. Every pass, every play counts like that. So they came out hot, and I think they rode the hot hand, and they ended up going all the way. And then they were up against the Titans. So how did they end up? How did they get to the championship?
Oh, the Titans? The Titans actually came in with a 5 seed, matched up against Bermuda. So, first off, congratulations to everybody from Bermuda. Appreciate the travel.
Right?
That's amazing.
Am I the only one that Googled how far is it from Bermuda back to the States?
It was about 900 miles. It's actually closer than we are.
But good for them. Traveled over the Bermuda Triangle, stayed safe. Hopefully they made it home safe as well. But definitely turned it in on Sunday, taking down the Titans. And then again, playing Blitzkrieg.
Yeah, the Titans
was the 1 seed.
Yeah, the Titans ended up pulling it out against Bermuda, matching up against Blitzkrieg, the number 1 seed. So the team that just missed the A pool.
Right.
Obviously, the expectation there, based on just sheer numbers alone, is Blitzkrieg should win that game. Titans weren't backing down. They came to play. They took down Blitzkrieg, making it to the finals.
Absolutely.
But
absolutely.
you know,
we saw one heck of a game in the finals.
Absolutely. But at the end of the day, the Barons they wanted to win 2. They won 3.
Well, we're glad, because you should be rewarded if you're going to come. And, you know, I mean, the whole point of us doing this podcast is just to take the sport as wide as we possibly can, whether it's Bermuda, whether it's LA. We used to say New York to LA, but now we've got another time zone probably to contend with. So that's fantastic to see the game just being so widespread there. Shall we move to the women's?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Women's A. I'm going to say no surprise here. Happy Endings taking it. They were the number 1 team, and you know, all through the weekend they were the most dominant team coming in. Not discrediting the Atlantic Crush there. They had the 2 seed, and it was actually point wise very tight. But Happy Endings had that pedigree of winning at this tournament. They have that pedigree as a team, and again they came out and proved it. A tight game with the Atlantic Crush, but the number 1 seed did beat the number 2 there, so it followed the scripted path.
I mean, you stick to your game plan and do what got you there in the first place, and it kept working. So we saw that on Sunday as well. Congratulations to the Happy Endings
and Karen Levine, who joined us on Saturday.
So we're rooting for you. Anybody that comes on the podcast, especially if you throw a jersey up on the wall here, we're rooting for you especially. Shall we move to Women's B?
Yeah, absolutely. Women's B. As far as upsets go, we didn't really talk about, like we said in the beginning, there really wasn't one. The Pittsburgh guys to succeed. That's kind of a false. This is actually a true upset.
Yeah.
With the Pittsburgh Blast. They came in from pool play, playing against the Slayers, who just dominated women's
Well,
B.
and important to mention, too, that it was the BC combined, and then there was a relegation to the C. So this is the top of the top here at the BC pool.
Absolutely. It's a good point. And the Slayers just ran through. They were the 1 seed coming in, not an issue. Pittsburgh Blast, you know, kind of a quote-unquote middle of the pack. You know, they obviously made the higher pool, but I didn't expect them to beat the Slayers.
Ditto.
And, you know, they did. They followed the Pittsburgh Gods, taking 2 trophies back to Pittsburgh.
That's fantastic. Can I make a side note?
Sure.
My favorite matchup of the entire weekend, Slayers versus Iron Maidens. I like the 80s music. You guys are speaking my language there. So congratulations to everyone in the B pool, but especially those two. And then your eventual winner there, the Pittsburgh Blast. Moving on to Women's C to close it out.
Yeah.
Unfortunate the weekend is coming to an end.
I know. It wrapped up. Definitely a great weekend all around, but an even better weekend for those from Ottawa. The Ottawa Peskies taking home the Women's C, beating the First Ladies.
So Ottawa, bit of a dynasty.
Yeah,
apparently. I mean, it's a hotbed.
I don't know. Apparently Canadians are good at hockey. I'm not quite sure. But no, the Ottawa Peskies made that travel worthwhile, taking home the Women's C. So congratulations to them and everybody else who, took home trophies, first, second place, and honestly, everybody who's plays the sport for the love of the game and had a great weekend. So we had fun. We completely enjoyed it. Can't wait for next year. But congratulations to all those winners. Before we wrap up here, and as we're saying thank you, we definitely want to say thank you to Jason Kelly and all of his team at Cool Hockey Events for putting this on. Again, another great event. Everybody looks forward to it. We appreciate him bringing us on board. Again, Joey Delgado, MVP for the live stream there.
The live streams were incredible. The multiple camera angles. They had sort of a sportscaster or whatever you want to call it, an announcer there. I mean, they're really professionalizing things, and we can really appreciate that. We know all the work that goes into that as we try to do the same thing from our end there. So anybody that's in that same vein.
Yep, absolutely. But then last but not least, certainly is definitely our guests and everybody that came on.
The most important people in the entire tournament.
Yeah, Karen Levin taking home the championship there in Women's A, but definitely thankful for you coming on. Thanks Amelia Mager for coming on,
even though we put you on the spot.
Captain of the U20 team coming up for Slovakia. Mike DeLorenzo from the LA Barons, and Denny Schlegel from the Buffalo Fusion.
Denny, you're a popular guy. Not a lot to say. You're super humble. Knock it off. But
celebrate yourself. Come on, man.
Fan
you're good.
Favorite, and we love you here as well. But from everybody here at Deck Hockey Focus, Sean doesn't get a lot of love. He's the behind-the-scenes guy that makes us look like we know what we're doing, even though we have no clue what's going on. Again, check out deckhockeyfocus.com. That's another brainchild of Sean over there. He's a wizard behind the keyboard, behind the computer there. Everybody that helped us out, everybody that tunes in, everybody that shares. Don't forget, we've got our Facebook page. Like us on Facebook. We've got a Snapchat. We'll talk about that later because I don't remember what it's called.
DHF Podcast.
At DHF Podcast. Thank you, Shackelford. And then, guys, we can't wait for the next tournament, and we appreciate everyone tuning in. Our goal here is just to grow the game and to give these top-level players in these top tournaments the voice and the recognition that they deserve. So stay tuned as we continue to take the game and make it worldwide.